Hope you're doing well. Today I'm finally filming the second instalment in my gravel cycling series. So I already filmed one video where I looked at basic kind of what sort of bike you want to have. Actually, I can't even remember what I put in the first video. It was a few weeks ago now. This is the second video, and today we're going to be looking at basic gravel riding skills and a few tips and stuff like that. When I was planning this video, what I had in mind was, say I was taking out one of my friends who rode road bikes. If I was taking them out on a gravel bike for the first time, what would they, oh hello, what would I tell them? What advice and tips would I give them for their first time when they're riding gravel off-road? So this is aimed squarely at people like that. I'll follow this up with a video of more advanced gravel skills, so let's get started. Okay, so we're going to go through a few things. We're going to cover off tyre pressure, hand position, foot position, body position, all the different positions, and also look at cornering, climbing and descending. So I find it really embarrassing with you filming me.
That's it. Is it because you're talking about all the positions? Which position's your favourite?
Oh, shut up. So let's start with tyre pressure. Obviously the tyre pressure that you run depends on the terrain that you're going to be riding. So smoother surfaces, you could potentially run a higher pressure, and the more technical or gravelly ones, you'd probably be wanting to run a lower pressure so that you've got more grip and a little bit more cushioning. Some people have a little bit more pressure in their rear tyre than their front tyre, but yeah, set yourself up with 30 psi and then try it out and see how it feels for you. Right, hand position. So you are mainly going to spend your time riding with your hands on the hoods up here. You've got quite a lot of control up here, there's a lot to grip onto, and that's going to work for most stuff. However, like with a road bike, you are going to be able to corner better on the drops because it lowers your centre of gravity and it keeps your front wheel planted. Descending on the drops does take a bit of getting used to. It's definitely worth practicing it though so that you can do it, because if you are on the drops, again, you've got a lower centre of gravity, and if you've got flared bars, you're going to have more control because there's more kind of leverage. So yeah, get used to it. The next thing I want to talk about is foot position. Obviously, if you're just pedaling along, just pedal. You don't need me to explain how to do that. But there are a few little tips that I can give you that will make certain aspects of your cycling easier and help you perform better on a gravel bike. So when you're descending, you want to drop your heels. So if you've got your heels further down, that is going to keep your bike planted and give you a little bit more grip. When you're cornering, it's important to have your outside foot and your outside pedal down, and you want to push pressure and weight through that outside pedal. That is going to give you more grip. It's also going to mean you don't catch your inside pedal. You definitely don't want your inside pedal down, because as your bike leans, you could catch it on the floor. If you're going over an obstacle, you want to have your feet level, because that's going to give you less chance of, again, catching a pedal on the ground. Okay, so we've covered off hand position and foot position. Next thing I wanted to talk about is body position. So when you're on a road bike, you tend to just kind of sit down most of the time, apart from maybe when you're climbing, you might stand up and get out of the saddle. On a gravel bike, you want to shift your weight around far more often and essentially allow the bike to move underneath you, independently of you. You want to think of your arms and legs as kind of suspension. So if you're going to go over an obstacle, stand up out of the saddle and allow the bike to come up underneath you, and then when you hit the flat, you can sit back down again and carry on pedaling as normal. There are key differences between cornering on a road bike and cornering on a gravel bike. The main one is that the terrain changes constantly when you're riding gravel, whereas on road, well, you're on the road. So it's really important that you take the terrain into account and adjust your riding accordingly. You're going to find there are two main types of corner. There's a bermed corner, which is kind of banked, but those are mainly on mountain bike parks. You potentially wouldn't be riding that kind of thing. So the corner that you're going to encounter on a gravel bike is a flat corner. In order to get the maximum amount of grip and not slide out, what you want to do is have your outside foot down and put weight and pressure through the outside foot. That's going to make the treads of your tyre grip into the ground as much as possible. When you're flat cornering, you will tilt the bike over because you've got your outside foot down and you're applying that pressure into the tyre to keep some grip. You don't want to also tip your body over because that is going to make your tyre wash out and make you slip over. So try and just tilt the bike and keep your body fairly upright. Another good tip is look through the corner. Descending on a gravel bike is a particular skill, and in my opinion a lot of it comes down to confidence. You need to trust your bike and that it's going to roll over the obstacles and it will make its way through any of the tricky stuff. What you don't want to do is keep grabbing the brakes and slowing down the entire time. It actually makes it harder. Okay, I'm not saying just go Mach 10 through everything. Obviously you need to be careful and modulate the brakes, gently feather them, but don't keep braking the whole time because otherwise your wheels won't turn, they will slide. It's really important when you're descending that you look where you want to go. Don't look down at your front wheel. Try and stay loose and do unweight from the saddle. Like I said earlier, you want to allow the bike to move around underneath you, so have a firm grip with your hands so they're not going to come off, but don't grip tightly with your arms. Just allow the bike to move around, relax and enjoy it. It's the most fun part. Final thing to cover is climbing. When you're climbing on a gravel bike, you are potentially going to be on a loose surface, and if you stand up to climb, your wheel might spin.
Your wheel's going to spin if you're riding your bike. You're riding a bike.
If you stand up to climb, you'll find that your rear wheel might slip. It's better to sit down, and that way you've got weight through the saddle, weight through the tyre, and you're going to get more grip. It does depend on the nature of the climb. You might find that there are little segments where you have to shift your weight forwards and quickly stand up to get over a sort of tricky, technical, rocky section. But the majority of the time you are just going to be seated. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching that video and that you will find some of those tips useful. Let me know how you get on if you go out on your gravel bike. I'm going to go and warm up because it is absolutely freezing here at the moment and my face has started to freeze. So I hope you're doing well and I'll catch you next week. Bye!